And thank you for the $20 million contribution. There you go.
Madam Chairman, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you so much. Next, we've got report of the Audit Committee, Trustee Ray Ciccone.
Thank you. So the Audit Committee met on October 28th for our major audit meeting of the year. And at that time, we had the results of our audit from the international accounting firm of Grant Thornton. I'm happy to report that we had in the world of auditing what's known as an unqualified opinion, meaning a perfect opinion. Not only that, there were no findings whatsoever. There were no recommendations for improvements of internal control. So this is about as good as you could get. And I was an auditor for many, many years, so I can speak firsthand about that. And I want to really continue with the accolades to our CFO, Charles Ingram, and his whole department. It's rare that we have that kind of a response from our audit committee on that. So thank you, Charles.
That's good. That's good.
Also on that same day, we also had the international firm of PKF do a special, has done a special cyber security audit for the university. We all know how important that is at this time. I'm happy to report the results of that came back very favorable. The recommendations they had were very favorable. And to my knowledge, we haven't had any major risks in that area either. They did give us some recommendations to implement. That's an ongoing thing with cybersecurity, so we'll look forward to that. Thirdly, we had also the international firm of Baker Tilly come in and do a special, who actually serves as our internal audit department for the university. And they did their first special audit for us of the athletic department. Very good. We've taken a lot of the recommendations that they've given us and implemented those. So that concludes the audit committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, report of Buildings and Grounds Committee, Trustee Leo Schofer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had another informative meeting of the Building and Grounds Committee this morning. As you know, there's much construction going on of new facilities, both here in Galloway and in Atlantic City. And I'd like to introduce our Associate Vice President of Facilities and Construction. And Don, I'd like to ask you, let's take a different direction. Instead of talking about all the new construction, which we've talked about over the last few meetings, let's focus on the upgrades and the improvements and the renovations that are going on here in Galloway.
All right, I'll try. Good evening. So we went over about a dozen projects today and over 45 slides of a PowerPoint. They don't even know it. We went really fast. But I will take his lead, but I will draw your attention to the one major project that's right out in front of this campus, the Quad project, which is right on schedule. And if you've been out front, you can see that steel arrived last week and it is going up now. So there's no stopping us now. The bills will start rolling in considerably. Construction's right on target. Change orders are at 0, and progress is great. Everyone is very pleased, and I want to thank my entire design team, facilities team, for leading that campaign. Skip West is the director of facilities. But in terms of program and design, things that are coming your way, the things that we discussed today is projects for the rest of the year. A significant sidewalk renovation project from the K-Wing Plaza all the way down to N-Wing, which includes the addition of a new accessible handicap ramp. Restrooms, renovations in the A and D area wings, and also in H-Wing. Introducing gender-neutral lactation rooms and accessible bathrooms. And they'll be done in phases, and those are 2 big projects for next summer. In addition to that, we also presented the early new campus signage designs to the board. They gave us approval to advance the design. I think we'll have something complete and ready to present to everybody in February. I think you're going to be very pleased. As far as operationally goes, we do have 250 in that represent facilities. They're led by Dan Cordell and John Fritsch. They maintain all the facilities. Charles had his meeting with the entire administration of finance yesterday and boasted just tons of improvements that they've done over the year, like 10,000 pounds of fertilizer, 12 million gallons of paint, maybe a little bit less, but considerable. But I will tell you that one of the most significant projects that you won't know about, some people will enjoy, and we mentioned it today, the ATIS system. We are the first in this country and biggest,
One time.
one of the biggest ever of time. It's a sophisticated, articulated system that was in disrepair last year. It was built, it was constructed 10 years ago, and it actually surrounds this building. 3 wells on this side, 3 wells on that side. We contracted with a highly specialized consultant to help us fix and maintain this particular system. They came in. You may have seen the crane out there last week where they lifted the 100-foot-long stainless steel pipe. They rectified and fixed the system. Our guys actually did the work. In-house, we have those kind of skills with our HVAC group and plumbing groups, and we restored that piping system. We're going to do the rest of the system throughout the spring. Very pleased, and have that kind of expertise in our own shop is very significant and quite a statement about our facility group. So, thank you very much.
Don, thank you. And I'd just like to point out 2 things before we conclude our report, and that's, first of all, that with all the new construction going on, you know, people forget and don't realize how much needs to be done in terms of maintenance and upgrades on the existing facilities. And that's why we wanted to focus on that a bit today, and we wanted to congratulate you and your department on the excellent job you're doing in keeping our existing facilities up to the standards that we expect. And second of all, congratulations on keeping the new project within budget. That's a very important feat.
Thank you.
I'm going to go out a little bit. Bob, give a 1-minute update on cell towers, which is of interest to everyone here, particularly anyone with a cell phone in this particular building.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. We're actively engaged with a tower consultant company right now known as American Tower. They have been in negotiations with the state of New Jersey on 2 tower locations that are proposed on either side of the campus. And in fact, next Monday, December 12th, they're going in front of the State House Commission for approval of those lease agreements. Assuming we're successful, and we anticipate that we will be, that will allow us to move forward with our due diligence for Pinelands Commission approval and other permits so that we can begin construction hopefully this summer with a rollout next fall. So thank you very much.
And that would be at no cost to the institution.
That is correct.
And that concludes our report.
Thank you so much. Next, report of the Development Committee, Trustee Michael Jacobson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Elmore came over to me and told me that he had an extensive agenda to go through. So, Dr. Elmore, please be quick.
Thank you, Trustee Jacobson. I did trim just a bit. Good evening to the board, President Kesselman, members of the community. Couple of items that will be of interest to the board. The Foundation Audit Committee also met in October, and I'm pleased to say ditto to Trustee Cicconi's report about the institutional audit. Everything about the Foundation audit was right on target, and we're very pleased with that clean audit, no concerns. The Foundation's 990 is in process and will be completed and filed in time for the extended deadline, so that's all moving along nicely. Foundation's net assets at the end, according to the audit, at the end of fiscal 16 were $29,970,000. That's up $800,000 from the previous year, and that's notable given the challenging investment year that we had in fiscal 16. And June 30 wasn't the most optimum date to take a snapshot, so we're pleased with those figures. The next meeting of the Foundation Board will be February 2nd. And then lastly, a report that giving continues to be strong. Through November 30, gifts total $3,062,000. That figure includes the $1.8 million from the Noise Museum merger, which I mentioned at the last meeting. But even when you factor that out to do some comparison from year to year, the November 30 numbers without the Noise Museum are $1.2 million compared to $770,000 during the same period last year. So a 60% increase over where we were at the same point last year, even when we factor out the noise. So we're feeling good about that, and fingers crossed for the rest of the year that we just keep moving ahead. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Nice report.
Great, thank you so much. Report of the Investment Committee, back to Trustee Stan Ellis.
Yes, thank you. The committee met on November 2nd. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend, so I'd like to ask Charles Ingram to give a brief report.
So now that I'm back to my vice presidential hat, I have to be accurate. And I will start with a bad joke because vice presidents do that. So where do snowmen keep their money? Snowmen keep their money in the snowbank. There you go. So we did meet on November 2nd, and we had our two investment advisors. Lighten up. We had our two investment managers, Wells Fargo and Ashford Consulting, present their reports. It was interesting. We'd had a long, extensive dialogue about what happens to our investment funds if who wins the election. And I'm pleased to say that we're both poised for either candidate winning because, well, I'll just leave it at that. And so we also discussed at length after they left the room, we are under a current RFP process. We are going to be reviewing about 13 proposals for RFP for managers, for the investment advisors. And we have a meeting this Friday to review those proposals, and then we will schedule interviews in January as the current 5-year contract expires in February. So that concludes our report.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kesselman, approval of actions for university policies, second reading.
Yes, this is an action item on behalf of the board. I ask that there be a motion to approve the resolution that appears on page 22, which deals with the deletion of a policy associated with posting and removal of announcements.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion, comments, questions? All right, roll call.
Trustee Deininger?
Yes.
Trustee Schofer?
Yes.
Trustee Ciccone?
Yes.
Trustee Bailey? Yes. Trustee Dolce?
Yes.
Trustee Ellis?
Yes.
Trustee Jacobson?
Yes.
Trustee Worthington? Yes. Trustee Valentin? Yes. Trustee Moreno?
Yes.
The next two items are first readings, so they're informational. One deals with academic warning, probation, and dismissal, and came up through the provost office. The second two, one deals with a real estate transaction committee, and the other with notifications, warnings, and prohibitions on consumer electronic products. If you recall, we had the hoverboards, and we had the one of the cell phones, I forgot which one is it? Samsung, where we sort of banned them a little bit ahead of time, and when I asked to see the policy to do so, there wasn't one, so we thought it might be time to have one, and that's what we did. We found a best practice, so this is a first reading. The Real Estate Transaction Committee is really important to establish an actual committee of the Board of Trustees that can go through the whole due diligence process as it pertains to real estate acquisitions. It will contain the CFO will be the chair of the committee, the chair of the board, the chair of Building and Grounds will be a member of this committee, the associate VP for facilities will be a member, I'm a member, and then we will have staff that will staff the committee based upon what the area of need might be. For example, if it was a student affairs area, we want folks from student affairs, and faculty also. This is really important, because we're at an interesting time in Stockton's history, and I'm not going to bore you with a long talk right now, but I think it is of particular moment, and the board has been spending a lot of time over the last 6 months, and there's several meetings in a retreat, and no one has given up. Every single board member is here, and I'm really, really honored and proud about that. But we have more opportunities than we've ever had in the past because there are many institutions and many entities looking for Stockton to be in their area, wherever that area may be. We're going through an expansion, as many of you know, a slight expansion in Manahawkin as we speak. You all know what we're doing in Atlantic City, and there's a lot of opportunity yet. you know, we have to be very, very prudent when it comes to these kinds of opportunities because we don't have an endless supply of dollars to support it. And it's really important that we go through a very systematic process when looking at these opportunities so that when we do finally make the decisions of moving forward, in addition to having everyone informed and being part of committee, that we feel very confident as a board that we're moving the institution in the right direction. So this is a really important committee. It ties in with the whole concept of shared governance, and I'm happy that that we'll have a first reading this committee meeting and, you know, at the next board meeting that we pass it.
So no resolution on this one?
Nope.
Okay. Well, going to move on to one of the most exciting parts of it, personnel actions resolution. Dr. Kesselman, would you like to say a few things before we do this?
I am pleased to present the personnel action resolution for the December meeting. As many of you know, we had been doing managers in the spring term, which I didn't think, quite frankly, provided a sufficient amount of time for those who may not get a positive recommendation. In addition, we wanted to tie the management process back into the goals and objectives that were set previous year. And in order to do it, it should be more closely associated with the end of the fiscal year rather than 3 quarters into a new year. And as a result, we moved it back this year, as you can see. So the manager reappointment cycle is in this particular board agenda. In addition, now, are a number of promotional opportunities. I'm not going to name them all. For our faculty, there's sabbaticals, and there's some other items in their emeritus status that we'll talk about a little bit later. But this is a really, really historic personnel resolution, not so much for the managerial reappointments and the great promotional reappointments of our faculty, but also for the folks who are getting emeritus status. This is a real substantial piece of Stockton history that I'll talk more about after I'm hopeful that this board approves the resolution.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion, comments, questions?
Trustee Deininger?
Yes.
Trustee Schofer?
Yes.
Trustee Ciccone?
Yes.
Trustee Bailey?
Yes.
Trustee Dolce?
Yes.
Trustee Ellis?
Yes.
Trustee Jacobson?
Yes.
Trustee Worthington?
Yes.
Trustee Valentin?
Yes.
All right,
So it's approved.
yes. Now-
Kudos. No, we're going to talk a little bit more. I'm hoping that either Laurie or the folks who have people here will come up at the appropriate time.
Okay, all right.
And I'll talk a little bit about a couple of them.
Then as we move towards that appropriate time, is there any other business? Comments from the Board of Trustees?
I may have one. I want to wish all my fellow trustees and the Stockton community a happy holiday. Stockton was always a special place around the holidays for me as a student. It's a time when the students are all studying hard for finals and running around, but there's a special thing about Stockton, and I feel it still, and I just want to reiterate, whatever meager success I've had, I owe everything to Stockton, and I want everybody to have a happy holiday.
Any other comments from the board?
I'd just like to welcome our newest board member. I think it'd be a great asset. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'll make a quick comment, which is, when I look out and I see you all, I so appreciate you as colleagues. I am so impressed by how hard you work, the diligence, the hours, particularly as we are looking back over the last year and a half, actually closing in on 2 years now. And I just want to thank you all. I want to wish you happy holidays. I want to wish you some days where you hopefully can pull back. You're never going to pull back from Stockton, I know, in your heads and your hearts. But I hope that you can find points of relaxation. I know that's one of the goals. It's very difficult for me. We were talking about this earlier. I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I'm always attached to my phone and my computer, and trying very hard for at least a multitude of hours, whatever I can, to just pull back, relax, recharge, and I wish you all that, and have a nice break. So that's my comment. And I'll check in with you in February to see whether I was able to pull it off. Comments from the public?
Yes, I'm very proud to acknowledge and recognize our faculty who have been recommended for promotion. So if you're here when I read your name, would you please stand so we can offer our congratulations? Professor Donatrice Allison, Professor of Communications. Kristen Jacobson, Professor of American Literature. Joseph Lima, Professor of Hospitality and Tourism Management Studies. Emery DiGiorgio, Professor of Writing. Matthew Bonin, Professor of Biology. Tara Luke, Professor of Biology. Yitzhak Sharon, Distinguished Professor of Physics. Jennifer Like, a Professor of Psychology. And Keith Williams, Professor of Psychology. We are extremely proud of you and your accomplishments, and we hope you have a great celebration over this holiday season. One other kudos to go out to the School of Education through its SRI and ETTC. They will host a 6-day professional development program to provide 50 K-12 teachers on strategies to teach the core curriculum to English language learners who are in their classrooms. They will also develop a MOOC, that is a massive open online course, to provide the same training to up to 500 teachers throughout New Jersey during the 2017-18 school year. Congratulations.
Patty, stand up and be recognized. Is that one of your things? Go ahead. There you go. I have to identify 5 individuals here. When you talk about a piece of Stockton's history, and that's what I was alluding to before, who are going to get the highest faculty honor upon their retirement. We'll start, I don't know if Henry's here. I'm not sure I saw him. I do know we're going to see him. Henry Van Kijking, is he here? For those who do not know Henry, most of you obviously do. He has been associated with our dance program for such a long period of time. Some of the great photos of him dancing appear in virtually every brochure that we've ever had in the history of Stockton. He has made a difference in our dancing program, and when you think of our dancing program, you think of Henry. Malaku Laku, who has been a professor in our economics program, a pillar of strength in that program for such a long period of time. He will be sorely, sorely missed at this institution. He has given much to Stockton, and so many students have been exposed to South Africa, all over the world as a result of Malaku. A terrific member of our faculty. Most people know what I think of her. She is, the quintessential faculty member. She has always been there for both her faculty. She's been terrific in interpreting administrators to the faculty, which is not the easiest assignment to do. She's had to tackle the most difficult assignment any faculty member on any college or university can tackle, and that's assessment. And she's done it with dignity, diplomacy, and in a way that makes a lot of sense. And the fundamental outcomes that you just saw today, earlier described by Christy Cunningham, is a direct result of faculty who are willing to take that task on and to move the institution forward. And that's, Dr. Sonia Gonzalez, Professor of Psychology. Stand up, Sonia. And our commencement speaker next week, our commencement. Long time, and she's the founder of our physical therapy program. She has served as the Dean of Health Sciences. She has been another voice of reason during difficult times at the institution. She is deeply, deeply committed to this place. She has been a major force in the development of our health sciences division. She's been a great mentor and friend to me, a great mentor and friend to so many people. Another, historical figure at the institution that will be sorely missed, although we're going to do everything we can, like all these folks. I know I have to abide by the state rule of 6 months away or whatever it is, but we're going to try to keep them connected in one way or another, and that's Dr. Bess Catherines. Okay, Bess. And last and certainly not least, and rarely, okay, does anyone get one of an emeritus. No one has ever gotten two. The next individual I'm going to introduce is my predecessor as the provost at the institution, vice president of academic affairs longer than anyone in the history of the institution. David was particularly responsible for so much in the area of student engagement. He's helped oversee the transformation from divisions to schools. He was a great mentor and friend to so many of us. Not only did his political science department recommend that he be considered emeritus status as professor of political science, but it was the full provost council and cabinet of the institution that unanimously endorsed him as our first emeritus vice president for academic affairs and provost, Dr. David Carr. Of course, you're a member of the public.
Madam Chair, President Kesselman, thank you for your very kind words. I did want to take this opportunity to thank the board for all the support it gave me when I was vice president or provost and executive vice president of this institution. We did a lot together. The institution is now in good hands, and I feel good about that. I feel good about ending my career where I began it, in the classroom. And so, to all my colleagues in the audience, thank you for your gracious applause. I've enjoyed working with every one of you, and I look forward to this new phase of my life. Thank you.
Nicely stated, David.
All right, well, we are,
Yes,
oh, yes. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. No, don't
Understood.
apologize.
Don't apologize.
Madam Chair, members of the Board of Trustees, and of course, President Kesselman. Happy holidays, everyone. Congratulations to the full professors, the distinguished professor, and the retirees. David, we had some interesting times negotiating, didn't we? Yes, we did. I'd like to take this opportunity to submit for the record, actually I already have submitted it, a statement that was drawn up and approved by a vote of the union membership. But it's a statement from the Stockton Federation of Teachers and the Stockton University Faculty Senate. And since some of you may not have seen it or heard it, I did want to read this statement. Excuse me. The Stockton Faculty Senate serves as the representative body that provides faculty voice in the development of university policy. Senate members are also members of the Stockton Federation of Teachers, the Union of Faculty and Professional Staff of Stockton University. As members of the American Federation of Teachers, we uphold the principles of the AFT mission statement and champion, and this is a quote from that mission statement, fairness, democracy, economic opportunity, and high-quality public education, healthcare and public services for our students, their families, and our communities. We are committed to advancing these principles through community engagement, organizing, collective bargaining, and political activism, and especially through the work our members do, end quote. We intend to adhere to these principles and to carry them out to the best of our abilities to ensure that all members of our community are treated with equality, fairness, and above all, respect. These principles and our educational mission are properly expressed by our dedication to the members of our Stockton family, students, staff, faculty, and the members of the communities in which we live and work. Especially in these trying times, we reaffirm our support of women, people of color, Jews, Muslims, members of the LGBTQIA community, those with disabilities, the poor, and immigrants, regardless of documented status. The SFT deplores and condemns any and all acts of prejudice, and we offer support and solidarity to any individuals or groups targeted by them. We will stand up to all forms of sexism, racism, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, and any other forms of hatred and discrimination based on ability, class, or sexual or gender identity, immigration status, or beliefs. In solidarity, signed, the members of the Stockton Federation of Teachers and the Stockton University Faculty Senate. I have given this statement to Trish. It's been entered in the record. We have also given it to the press and circulated it with the Argo. I also want to extend our members' heartfelt thanks to President Kesselman for declaring Stockton University a sanctuary campus for DACA students. You have no idea how positive the response from the faculty was to this, and it's such an important designation. We were so proud to look at that list and see Stockton University on that list.
Thank you.
I also want to take this opportunity, unfortunately, to remind the members of the board and the members of our community that faculty and professional staff and members of CWA are still working without a contract. This means that faculty and professional staff have not received scheduled salary increases since 2015, missing 2 cycles. I want to also then thank President Kesselman for freezing the salaries of managers during this time. This act of solidarity with our unions is the right and good thing to do. I hope that it will encourage members of the administration to stand with union members as we fight for our contract, to write the governor and legislators, and to assist our struggle. We are very lucky at Stockton University that we can count you among our colleagues, our friends, and our supporters. Insofar as our contract is concerned, though the state has shared proposals with us, and although we have a couple of dates for negotiations in January, we do not see appreciable movement at this time. Needless to say, morale among faculty and professional staff is low. Folks are frustrated, disappointed, and angry. They are not willing to go one more term without a contract. And membership has decided that if there is no movement on the contract in those January meetings, activism on the campuses will begin in the spring. The last thing that those who have dedicated their lives to the educational mission and to this university want is in any way to damage or derange the environment here at Stockton. But it is entirely possible that the state will leave us no choice, and we will have to avail ourselves of whatever means we have available to force movement. If we find it necessary to engage in activism this spring, we ask for your understanding, and we hope for your support. We know that the board and the administration is justifiably proud of our faculty and professional staff at the university. Stand with us as we fight for the wages and benefits that we justly deserve. We are Stockton. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A good second to speak.
Good evening, Madam President, Chair rather, Dr. Kesselman, members of the board, First Lady Kesselman, and members of the public. I'm pleased to provide you with an update on the university's employee charitable campaign. Last year, Stockton ran a very successful campaign and broke our record. Last year, we raised $52,450 and had 196 donors here at the university participate in that campaign. This year's campaign, of which Dr. Kesselman is co-chair of the statewide campaign, is making incredible progress, and to date we have raised $51,306 and have a total of 186 donors participating this year. Our goal is $55,555. So we are just over $3,000 shy of reaching our campaign goal, which will be a record for Stockton and will keep us in first place amongst our sister institutions statewide. And we are, I believe, second amongst all state agencies and entities in the state of New Jersey. So, you know, we, again, are setting the bar high, not only for ourselves, but for our colleagues throughout the state. So, you know, as we prepare to conclude our campaign before we leave for the break, I just want to encourage those of you who have not had a chance to participate to please consider doing so for as little as $2 per pay. There's over 1,000 nonprofit organizations in which you can dedicate your funds to. So there's something for everyone out there to give to, so please consider participating. Just one other update. Coming up in 2017, January 16th to be exact, we'll be holding our annual MLK Day of Service. Stockton hosts the largest MLK Day of Service of its kind in southern New Jersey. We have upwards of 1,000 participants every year, and we want to encourage you to please consider coming out and supporting us. We will have service projects throughout the county, as well as Cape May, Manahawkin, again, at all of our instructional sites, Atlantic City, Hamilton. So again, please consider coming out and participating with our students and alum and community members who look forward to this event every year. Thank you.
Nice and done. Nice. For those who like basketball, we have a doubleheader tonight. I think the men are at 6, right? And the women are at 8. I hope I have that right. And of course, we have the holiday reception next for the whole university. Next, help me, Friday?
December 18th? No, that's the wrong date. 16th.
16th, thank you. So we hope that you're all there. If you're not able to make it, just have a happy holiday period, but we have a little bit of work yet to do this semester, so it's not quite over yet. I think it's time to conclude. What do you think?
I know, I have two thanks. First of all, thank you, IT, for having the monitors here, having this great little note that made us be able to do it. Thank you so much for all your support, all your help. This is wonderful. And also, I need to confess to the campus police who are here. I forgot to bring my parking pass. Thank you so much. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the board will be held at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 22nd, 2017, right here in the Campus Center Board of Trustees room. I will bring my parking pass, I promise. Take care, everybody. Happy holidays.
Nice meeting.